Well, here we are, still in that season where you have to deal with cold and flu and aches and pains. And as far as that's concerned, well, you know what? We just might have the fix for you. Tonight on NEOtropolis, this is not business as usual. Welcome to NEOtropolis. We are not business as usual. Hi, I'm your host, Jim Evans. We often hear about someone's body of work, a commonly used phrase today. Tonight, we again pay a visit to a Northeast Ohio company previously featured, whose resume has shown measurable progress since then in its effort to work on the body. What they're doing might be of substantial help to you and someone you know. We'll have that for you in a few moments. But first, we take a look at regional business news from the NEOtropolis Good Business News Aggregator.
This is the good business news along the I-77 corridor for the week of January 31st. Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section reports that more than 750 jobs will be coming to the Northeast Ohio region thanks to tax credits and grants recently awarded by the Ohio Department of Development. Also, Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section and the Akron Beacon Journal front page report that Akron and Summit counties both have signed off on a $160 million government-backed deal to build a new global headquarters for the Akron-based Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Construction on the project is expected to be completed March of 2013. And Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section reports that Cleveland-based TransDigm Group Incorporated, maker of highly engineered aircraft components, is selling New York-based Alcoa Incorporated, the fastener business it purchased last December as part of its $1.27 billion purchase of McKechnie Aerospace. Wednesday, both the Cleveland Plain Dealer and the Akron Beacon Journal business sections report that Akron-based First Merit Corporation has reported its 47th quarterly profit, or nearly 12 years of profitability. Wednesday's Kent Record Courier reports that amid opposition from a nearby property owner, the Kent Planning Commission unanimously approved plans to construct a 12-car parking lot at Kent's Riverbend Park for canoe and kayak users. The project is expected to be completed by the middle of this summer. Thursday's Akron Beacon Journal business section reports that Brunswick-based Precision Made Products, LLC, a metal injection molding company, received an $150,000 grant from the National Science Foundation's Small Business Innovation Research Program to work with Case Western Reserve University to develop a new way to weld or join molded parts. Also, Thursday's Akron Beacon Journal business section reports that the Canton-based Timken Company, a bearings and specialty steel maker, will invest about $35 million for a forge press at its Faircrest Rolling Mill steel plant in Canton. According to Timken, the investment reflects an increased demand for its steel. This is the good business news along the I-77 corridor for this week. NEOtropolis is your source for good business news.
How does it go? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you could body fix it. Something to consider, so remain fixed in your position. Right now, we'll connect with our content partner, the Business Journal. It's time for the Weekly Buzz.
I'm Stacia Erdis with the Business Journal Weekly Buzz for Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley. Penn National gaming officials say they've acquired the property in the Mahoning Valley where they want to relocate their Toledo racetrack. State Representative Bob Hagan says the company wants to build the horse racetrack here at Route 46 and I-80 in Austintown. Penn National says the $200 to $300 million project could bring at least 1,000 jobs. Penn National Gaming plans to address the Ohio State Racing Commission next Thursday about the relocation. The Mahoning Valley Development Group unveiled their plans to build a racetrack and resort last month, but they have no license and did not reveal the intended location. VXI Global Solutions is looking to fill about 200 positions at its downtown Youngstown call center. The company says the need is driven in part by clients specifically asking that their work be done here.
We've just been growing so fast that right now it's just trying to get people in the door.
VXI currently employs 800 customer service reps at the Youngstown call center. The Lordstown-built Chevy Cruze helped to boost GM sales numbers for January. GM says its U.S. car and truck sales rose 22% last month from a year ago. Combined retail sales for the newest vehicles, including the Equinox, Silverado, Cruze, and Volt, surged 61%, propelled by improving Cruze numbers.
Men and women at Lordstown should be very proud of that car. They're working hard, and it's doing extremely well. We really can't keep it on the lot. I mean, it comes in and goes out.
Owners of local machining and metal fabricating companies have formed an advisory board to get the word out that they need more skilled employees. The group hopes to help train and recruit the workers they'll need over the next decade.
Great opportunities exist in skilled trades employment, be it fabricating, machining, and related fields, but I think as employers we haven't done our part to promote and make awareness of those opportunities.
Work is slightly ahead of schedule at the Oh Wow Children's Science Center in downtown Youngstown. Crews are working to transform the former McCrory's department store into a science wonderland, with everything from a hurricane chamber to a news studio to a flight simulator.
Things are coming along very well. We're on target.
Barbati has been advertising from Cleveland to Pittsburgh in her search to fill the staff positions needed for when it opens May 12th. And work to open the Mahoning Valley Historical Society Center is moving along. More than 22,000 square feet of the three-story Burt building on downtown's West End will be home to the center. And those are this week's headlines. Be sure to watch the Buzz newscast every business day online at businessjournaldaily.com. I'm Stacia Urtis. We'll see you next week.
And now it's time for a NEOtropolis fact.
Did you know that the Northeast Ohio region is home to more than 600 biomedical companies?
Most all of us have experienced some sort of foot, knee, wrist, joint pain, right? Treatments vary, and so do the results. One method to consider in this is neuromobilization, a conservative treatment of disorders of neural tissue. Well, a company here in Northeast Ohio has taken this approach to another level. Phyx has developed a unique device that may enhance this specialization. Now, this is our second appointment with Phyx, and as Jennifer Boris shows us, they're still not doing business as usual.
We are in Fairview Park at a company called Phyx. Now, we first introduced you to the startup a little over a year ago, and now we're back to see how they've progressed. And they are definitely not doing business as usual.
See, there's this little button here. When the back of your neck touches that button, the machine will work.
When it comes to this Phyx machine, Jean O'Malley is an expert.
The lumbar roll will support the lumbar curve to get good alignment in your lumbar spine. Put your arm through here.
That's because she's the brains behind it, both the inventor and designer.
Phyx is a machine that moves the body in evidence-based movements that will mobilize the nervous system. It repeatedly performs these movements. You can set from anywhere from 25 on up to 100 motions.
Jean came up with the idea after spending many years as a certified spine specialist.
And I work with neurotension and pain in the spine, pain that comes from the spine. I'm also an orthopedic physical therapist. I work with sports injuries. And I found that there is a significant neuro component in all the joint pain, knee pain, foot pain, shoulder pain, wrist pain, carpal tunnel syndrome that wasn't being addressed by standard treatment protocols.
She says when she incorporated the science of neuromobilization into her treatment protocols, she saw much faster results.
I am amazed. I really am. I'm sorry. I really am amazed.
I mean, people would come in with heel pain one day and they go out the next day and able to run without heel pain when you address the nerve.
According to Jean, neuromobilization is a very specialized science. So she created this machine that allows sports therapists and chiropractors to incorporate it into their treatment of the nervous system.
It's not a replacement. It's the chiropractors haven't had a new piece of equipment in 20 years. This is their chance to do neuromobilization. It's able to release neural adhesions without surgery.
So that's the story behind Phyx. Now let's see how far they've progressed since we last spoke with them in this clip from November of 2009.
We're really excited right now because we've just gotten provisional approval by our Institutional Review Board, and that is going to empower us to do a double-blind study to prove what we already know, that the machine works. And I need this scientific proof that the machine works in order to present it to investors, to obtain additional funding in order to bring our idea along to fruition.
That study isn't completed just yet, but it is underway.
It's very difficult to do a research study. You have many agencies monitoring the study. I have 4 agencies actually monitoring the study. It's a very scientific study. We have to have, it was determined by the statisticians that we needed 90 participants, and right now we're halfway through the study, and it's going well.
They're hoping to finish it within the next few months, and the results are extremely important for FDA approval.
I can't make claims that this will treat shoulder pain or mobilize the peripheral nerves without having some evidence to prove that. My clinical trial will show. My hypothesis is that neurotension is a significant part of orthopedic and joint pain.
Another major step since we last spoke was attaining a patent.
When we received the patent, my patent attorney called me and he said, you know, it's really an exciting phone call to make. They're used to dealing with big corporations that routinely get patents. He said it's very rare that they see an individual come through with an idea and follow it to fruition. So he enjoyed making that phone call, and it was a thrill to get the patent.
About a year ago, they also had hoped to add to their staff, and this past fall, they did by bringing aboard a CEO, Richard Burns.
I initially got involved with Jean as one of her initial trial patients a couple years ago. Through my significant other who was working with her. She works at Jumpstart, and I'd been working with them raising capital, come up with a business plan, and she said to me, I have all these, aches and pains all the time. I've had 2 back surgeries, 2 elbow surgeries, et cetera, et cetera. And she says, I have this great lady you need to meet. I'm sure that she can help you.
He resisted at first, and then finally came out to meet her.
I used to get steroid injections in my elbows all the time. I had golfer's elbow. I had 2 elbow surgeries. Even had a little bit of carpal tunnel, which we've talked about. And she started analyzing me, and she said, well, those aren't muscular, I don't think. She says, I think those are nerve related. And she says, I think I can solve all those if you don't mind, working with me a little bit.
So he did, and he says the results were impressive.
She made me throw away my golf cinchers that I used to wear around my elbows, and the pain went away. It didn't just go away for the day, I actually golf now, and I don't use any of the stuff I used to use, and I don't feel any of that pain.
To get somebody of his caliber to come on and to commit to our project when there's other people with other projects looking for somebody like this, that was a big step. That was a big step. And in order to do this, we went through BioEnterprise. BioEnterprise has been walking us through this process.
The Great Lakes Innovation and Development Enterprise, also known as GLIDE, has been a huge help as well.
They have given us 2 separate grants. We received one for $100,000, one for $25,000.
According to Richard, he is hoping to raise another $500,000 in funding over the next 6 months.
That's the alpha model that you looked at a while ago, and although that's a working model, that's not what the final product's going to look like. We've had a redesign. We've brought in 2 new engineering firms. We've spec'd out what our next product will look like, but we haven't built it yet because we need to raise capital to build it. So that's one of our challenges that we have right now.
Like with any business, there have been challenges along the way, but everyone at BodyFix is confident about the company's future.
I have the burning desire for my product. There is a need for the nerve mobilizer. There is a need for the science out there. The science isn't getting into the hands of the chiropractors and the physical therapists. So there's a need for my product.
A year from now, they're hoping to be past the prototype stage and in early stage production for this machine, and then the next step is to sell it on the marketplace. In Fairview Park, I'm Jennifer Boris for Western Reserve PBS.
Are you not doing business as usual? Then email us at neotropolis.org. Tell us how you're changing your business, organization, or government agency to compete in the new economy. And who knows, you could be starring on NEOtropolis, not business as usual. So we took a look at musculoskeletal treatment from a microeconomic point of view. Now we talk with experts in the field for a macroeconomic perspective, or what we like to call fly-eye economics.
With over 4,000 lenses, the eyes of a common housefly are among the most complex in the insect world.
With us tonight are panelists Donna Richardson, entrepreneur in residence, biosciences with Jumpstart, and Dr. Brian Davis, vice president of the Medical Device Center with Austin Bioinnovation Institute in Akron. Folks, thanks so much for being with us here this evening. A new company gets going with to market a product, and they face a lot of hurdles, obviously. In the medical device field, are there more hurdles? Are there higher hurdles? Donna?
Well, you know, I've been doing this my entire career, and I think Brian has as well. So from our perspective, it's part of the way we do business. Certainly there are more hurdles in that we have to follow a regulatory pathway and be cleared by the FDA to introduce a product to the market. We also have reimbursement issues, so there are other issues that are to be considered in addition to patent issues and marketing and sales issues.
Right.
Well, in addition to what Donna said, there's distribution networks you have to set up, and you always have this concern about potential lawsuits in the future if your product doesn't work quite the way you would like it to work.
Good point.
So you always have to be worried, do I have the coverage I need to cover myself in the case that something may go wrong?
Still a process, so to speak, for Body Phyx, but they do have the patent, and that obviously offers them protection. Talk about how that fits into the development of a product. How important is that to have that in the development stage, or is it?
Sure.
Oh, it's certainly very important. Once you have a patent in place, you can think about licensing it, or in the case of this particular company, forming a distribution network, going and getting the device to be sent to clinics, selling the device, knowing full well that you're protected by this patent. It's not necessarily the only thing you need, because you certainly need to have follow-up service capabilities, customer interactions, manufacturing, distribution networks. You need all these things in addition to the patent, but certainly it's a major step forward.
I think something to note that's important is many times the inventor will come up with an idea, as you know, Brian, because you've worked so many times in this area, file the invention disclosure and then the patent, and then wait almost 3 years before the patent is issued. So during that time, they are commercializing the product. They're developing a prototype. They're doing clinicals. They're collecting clinical data. They're doing potentially animal testing before then. So they're doing many more things. Sometimes they refine that patent while they're learning more things about their technology. So by the time they come to market, which is usually 3 or 4 years later, is when the patent hopefully issues.
Right. It's also very important to get key opinion leaders on board. You know, if you have a new patent, you need to go to well-known people in the field, clinicians, surgeons, physical therapists, and demonstrate that your device has merit. Get their buy-in, because once you do that, it opens up all kinds of channels for your product.
Talk about the importance of having a business plan.
Well, obviously for any business, it's very important. In the beginning stages, I think it's more important to understand how you're going to run your business for the next 18 to 24 months. So something more akin to an operating plan, so that the management team knows what the milestones are, how much money or resources they need to accomplish those milestones, and therefore can begin to go out and begin some fundraising efforts. The business plan is obviously important once you're fundraising, because any investor is going to want to see a well-done, well-thought-out business plan.
For someone starting something new, a new device like this, innovation, new product, and they've not had any experience with, developing a business plan, what are the steps they take to do that?
Well, many times it's really not so difficult to do. We're very blessed here in Northeast Ohio to have a network, the Jumpstart Entrepreneurial Network, BioEnterprise, and many other people, Brian's group, who can assist entrepreneurs for the first time in which they're going to write a business plan, give them guidelines on how to do it, help them with certain sections, give them examples of what are successful business plans. So there's a lot of support here in Northeast Ohio to assist with that, both with Jumpstart, BioEnterprise, and Brian's group as well.
That is especially important right now, because the FDA has changed, or is changing, some of the rules regarding 510K clearance. And so for a new company moving to this area, it's sort of a minefield of what do I do, and I can't necessarily rely on what happened previously because some of the rules have changed. So getting regulatory assistance from people who know the FDA pathways is absolutely key.
Talk about the impact, what Body Phyx is doing in their product, the impact that could have on the medical field in Northeast Ohio, and the medical business in Northeast Ohio.
Well, they have a unique product that's aimed at reducing pain in hopefully what will be the chiropractic market, so that's going to be their focus. They've narrowed their niche to that because they think that's where the greatest need is and where the business model can support the kind of pricing that they'd like to have for the device. So I think it's important to do that, to do the analysis of here's my product, what market is it best applied for, how can we get a revenue ramp and market adoption in that particular market very quickly to support the investment opportunity, to attract investors, and then to actually implement the business plan, create revenues, create jobs, create profits.
Northeast Ohio is actually a great place for this because not only do you have wonderful medical institutions, but you also have this network that Don is referring to. We also have programs like the Women's Entrepreneurship Program that was started recently by the Austin Bioinnovation Institute in Akron, where you encourage women entrepreneurs to come forward, get involved with the University of Akron, and take them to the next step in terms of getting their business plan up and running.
One of the things that I think is quite unique here that has just evolved over the last 5 or 6 years is we have a wonderful network of early stage funding for these companies. Okay. We have the Body Phyx itself originally was recipient of 2 grants from the Glide Innovation Fund, which allowed them to raise enough money to build their first prototype, to do some market research, they had already filed the patent, to continue on with the patent. So this early stage funding was critical to the success of the company. We not only have that, we have a number of they also received money from the North Coast Opportunity Fund, and they have just recently submitted to Jumpstart, which is another very early stage seed fund opportunity that we're very blessed to have here in Northeast Ohio.
I think a key step forward for this particular company is to do a controlled clinical trial where you have patients coming into your study, going through the treatment protocol that they've developed and comparing them with another matched cohort. Those clinical trials certainly can be done very well here in Northeast Ohio. We have the Clinical Trials Center within the Austin Bioinnovation Institute that could help. Certainly there are many other centers around Northeast Ohio that are very familiar with clinical trials.
As I've been working with this company, we've guided them to do that, and they went through the painstaking process of getting IRB approval, getting the protocol approved. So they are now in the midst of a 90-patient clinical trial, of which they completed 40 patients, and they're eager to see what the results will show. So I think they're taking our advice on that.
They have a unique product in a unique scenario in that their CEO was actually a client, and it sounds like the old commercial, not only the president, I'm a client too. How can that be an advantage for them, if at all?
Well, I think anytime a CEO has to be the biggest supporter, enthusiast, and passionate about the products. And if it's a person who has actually benefited, had reduced pain because of the products, the person is going to be very passionate about what they're doing. A CEO is always selling either to investors, to customers, to his staff, to everyone. So the ability to be passionate and really believe in the product is really a requirement.
We only have a moment left, a little over a moment left, but they're in a situation at Body Phyx where, again, they're in the process, again, in development, so to speak, but they're also putting together a management team. And that's a pretty unique scenario, isn't it, especially for a small company? Can you talk about that?
Well, it's always a challenge for a startup company to prove themselves and get CEOs in with the right background. I think in this case they've been successful in attracting the interest of CEOs or potential CEOs. But that person is going to be the driver. And it's sometimes difficult for the initial inventor to hand over the reins to somebody else, especially when you're passionate about the device. But often the inventor does not have the business background that you need in order to push the product forward.
Anything to add, Donna, to that? And
No,
that's a unique
agree.
scenario to have the management team in a development stage as well as the product. So.
Well, many times that's what happens because the inventors are really providing sweat equity and they are moving the company forward. And again, we have the resources here in Northeast Ohio to guide them along and to professionally advance them.
Folks, we're out of time, but thanks so much for joining us. You were a great panel tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you. Promising future for Body Phyx. And with that, it's time now for Into the Future.
Into the future.
Hi, my name is Rick Arlo. I'm an EMT, biomedical engineer, MD PhD student at Case Western, and also the co-founder of a company called LifeServe Innovations. Through the experiences of myself and my colleagues, we've noticed the lack of innovation in the surgical airway field. This is a procedure in which a tube is placed through the front of the neck and into the trachea for oxygenation of the patient. This lack of innovation has resulted in up to a 70% rate of complications, including loss of your voice as well as death in U.S. soldiers and civilians every single day. We have developed a patent-pending procedure based on a snake's fang and 2 device embodiments. The first of which will allow pre-hospital paramedics and military medics to save more lives, and the second is the first ever device that will allow non-specialty physicians to perform a superior procedure in both the emergency and non-emergency situation, which is currently only being performed by surgical specialties. The increased use of this procedure will result in increased patient outcomes, as well as an estimated $3,000 saved per procedure or $400 million saved in aggregate each year. Our preclinical testing in cadavers have shown that the devices are easier to use, are up to 70% faster, and may offer significant clinical safety outcomes. Currently, we are finishing preclinical development and testing of our products with clinical relationships at university hospitals and the Cleveland Clinic. We are raising grant funding through the NIH and the military, as well as seeking private investment. For more information, please visit our website at www.lifeserveinnovations. Thank you.
Now, you know, we also like to scan the financial landscape. And the experts at NCA Financial Planners are here to help us do that now with a stock wrap.
This week's local company stock spotlight is an Akron company we're all very familiar with, Goodyear Tire and Rubber. Goodyear has been a part of our city for over 100 years. Not only do we recognize the Goodyear brand on the ground, but also in the sky at Northeast Ohio events in their famous Goodyear blimp. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company was founded in 1898 prior to the automobile era. The company focused on bicycle tires and then moved on to the horseless carriage. In 1929, Goodyear became the world's largest tire company. Today, their products can be found on almost any type of vehicle across the globe, ranging from commercial trucking tires to the standard automobile tires to tires built for high-speed racing. With such a diverse product line, Goodyear employs approximately 69,000 people around the world and operates more than 57 plants in 23 countries. Goodyear stock is traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol GT. The midweek close for GT is $12.09. Year to date, the stock is a positive 2.03%, but over the last 5 years, the stock is still a negative 21.54%, trying to recover from the recession and the automobile industry's woes in 2008 and 2009. Back to you, Jim.
There's never a pain with culture and entertainment in Northeast Ohio. We can sure use more of that these days. And the guy who can fix us up with that is Cool Cleveland's Thomas Mulready. He joins us now to tell you about some other events that are going on in NEOtropolis this weekend. What we're talking about is the business of fun.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com, and this week we're talking about seminars and conferences in Northeast Ohio. We often talk about cultural events, but there's also a lot you can do to enhance your own career. For example, today I'm at the Doubletree in Independence, just attended a Web Association luncheon, and that was great for those of us in the internet industry. Depending on the industry that you're in, or even if you're looking for a job, there are a lot of conferences, seminars in the region. For example, in Lake County, at Lakeland Community College on Feb 9, there's going to be a mini job fair, and then in March, they're doing a healthcare job fair in Lake County at Lakeland Community College. And then in Cleveland, in April, there's a conference called NOTACon, which means not a conference. This is their 8th one. This is for technology, philosophy, and creativity. And that's an interesting conference that we cover every year. Down in Akron, on Feb 11, there's a management seminar. It's called Skills for Top-Notch Supervisors, and that's at the Holiday Inn in Fairlawn. And then in Rootstown, the Northeast Ohio University's Colleges of Medicine is sponsoring a seminar in March called Employed with a Purpose for folks with mental health issues, to get them reintegrated in society. So there are plenty of seminars and management conferences to help you with your career in Northeast Ohio. This is Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in NEOtropolis.
Keep in mind, the Northeast Ohio economy is looking for your input, participation. So get out to any of the events Thomas told us about and make your investment in fun. You can also position yourself out there and make some brilliant comments about the Northeast Ohio economy to the people in the waiting room and tell them to spread the word. In the meantime, log on to our website, neotropolis.org, and tell us what you think. I'm Jim Evans. We'll see you next week on NEOtropolis, not business as usual.
Funding for NEOtropolis has been provided by the Burton D. Morgan Foundation, committed to the free enterprise system. The Dominion Foundation. Jumpstart, working with entrepreneurs to accelerate the growth of their high-potential businesses to create a more prosperous economic future for Northeast Ohio. The Raymond John Ween Foundation. Youngstown Business Incubator.
Next week on NEOtropolis, more buzz, stock wrap, and into the future. Find out who is not doing business as usual. Now stay tuned for Newsnight.